Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eva Moore. This is Evolution for July 31st, 2018. So, I'm going to start off with a prayer. It says, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you a great and mighty things which you do not know." And that's Jeremiah 3:33. Well, lots of interesting things happening in the Community of Truth movement. I just want to say thank God for Q and QAnon and all the people that are doing that work. Recently, there was lights out when President Donald Trump was giving a speech, and he was specifically talking about the American intelligence community and the capacity and the faith that he has in the intelligence community to move this forward. So the reference that Q has been making is dark to light. And then for Trump to be specifically speaking about the intelligence community and the lights go dark and then light, I think this reference is that we're looking at transforming the intelligence community to actually be in service to humanity. So in that spirit, I'm going to start to speak about a few things. So recently, the Washington Pundit came out and did in fact list a bunch of names that are to have been recorded as active or guilty of pedophilia. Now, I allegedly will read them. Again, this is allegedly, as doing due diligence is very, very important. However, I feel this list has been compiled and in a number of people's hands for quite some time. I believe that this information was the information on the server that was recently returned to the United States and U.S. soil from the East and from people who were keeping it safe. So I will read these names. These are Hollywood names: Seth Green, James Gunn. Seth Green is the redhead in Charlie's Angels and a lot of other ones. He's got his own shows. James Gunn is the director, I believe, of Guardians of the Galaxy, and we've had people come forward in his defense, which is really interesting. Upsetting people, but interesting. Dan Schneider, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Barack Obama, Kevin Spacey, Kathy Griffith, Oprah Winfrey, Sean Carter, Beyonce Knowles, Anthony Kiedis, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Jim Carrey, Steven Tyler, Ben Affleck, Stephen Collins, Will Ferrell, Akon, Marshall Mathers, Eminem, Victor Salva, Mark Collins Rector, Charlie Sheen, Tyler Grisham, Madonna Ciccone, Gwen Stefani, Catherine Hudson, Stefani Giramonta, which is Lady Gaga, James Franco, Will Smith. Political names: Joe Biden, John McCain, Bob Menendez, John Podesta, Tony Podesta, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, Jeff Flake, Bob Croker, Jacob Schwartz, Ed Murray, Barney Frank, Brock Adams, Mel Reynolds, Neil Goldschmidt, David Wu, Tony Mendoza, Anthony Weiner, Peter Strzok, Adam Schiff, Charles Windsor, John Kerry. Now, I believe Peter is the one that is to be testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee. He is one of the only ones, and so we're going to switch gears here, and I'm going to talk about why this information is coming out, which I haven't heard anyone really kind of cover. So, recently, we had information come out that a server was being returned from the Far East to the U.S., and that the reasons for this server being off U.S. soil is because, in fact, the committee was leaky. So the investigation was not actually happening, as what we've seen with Comey and basically people admitting that Hillary was guilty, and yet nothing happened. What difference does that make? It makes a lot of difference. So here we are in a position where the server is being returned, the information is being given and distributed into the public, which is great. Under universal law, now it's up to us to actually do something with it. So a lot of what we need to have is the perspective of the big picture. And what has been missed and not really compiled is that humanity is being given a chance. That at one point, there was actually mutiny within the Navy. That the secret space program, which basically is happening black and without a lot of comprehension or knowledge to most people on Earth, is the reality that the Earth was basically to be nuked. We were seen as being so far corrupted, so far gone, that there was no hope for humanity to clean this up. So now this is where we're in this delicate balance of having to clean this up and preserve the innocence of humanity while we clean it up. So you've got these two sides. You've got the side of humanity that is completely clueless of any of this going on and very much sitting ducks waiting to be preyed upon by this other side that is quite corrupt. Now, this quite corrupt side has a spectrum of people. And the spectrum of people, there is mutiny that's happened within this group. And this group has decided, no, we're not going to bomb all our loved ones just because they're clueless and they don't have any understanding. It doesn't make them just as guilty as the rest. But under universal law, if we know and we don't do anything, then we are, because we've been complicit through TAC acquiescence. So this is where it gets tricky, is that we need to build up enough knowledge and then take action in accordance with God's will. So we have all these people in Hollywood whose names are coming out. Now, they seem to be the ones that, for the most part, have been the most verbally aggressive against Donald Trump and against the Trump administration. Why? Because they were the ones that wanted out of this lifestyle. They didn't want to be a part of this corruption any longer. They wanted to see change, and they were willing to come forward. They felt they were safe enough to come forward in the previous last administration. Great. However, we've switched administrations, so now we're in a different arena. And so they're very scared and angry, and instead of bending their knee to God and really surrendering to God and asking for forgiveness in a humble way and being a leader and saying, look, this is what's really going on. This is why I'm mad, which I believe Oprah had the opportunity to be the Oprah that we know, the couch Oprah, you know, the mediator Oprah that we know her to be. Now, she was paid millions of dollars to give that speech, which everybody was wearing black, like it was a funeral. And, you know, I was underwhelmed by her speech. I felt like she was given the opportunity to really be a leader, and she dropped the ball. So, you know, what else was going on behind the scenes? I don't know. That's just what my heart said. So if we keep into the perspective that the earth was basically about to be nuked and good people have stood up and said, no, time out, give us a chance to clean this up. We've got those people coming out of this camp, which is the darker camp, which is the camp of people whose hearts are hardened. They've seen and done horrible, dangerous, awful things. They've grown up probably in 3 generations, which Kathy O'Brien spoke about, how after 3 generations of abuse, it becomes autonomic, meaning you just don't know any different. And it's just the way things are until you are exposed to an outside influence that says, no, there's another way to do it. You don't have to do that. But yeah, 3 generations psychologically, it actually gets passed through the DNA. We've seen PTSD can get passed through the DNA, while other things can get passed of consciousness through the microtubules in the sperm and the ovum. So here we are, humanity's at this quantum collapse crossroads. And how do you quantum collapse consciousness? Well, it's not with pitchforks, and it's not with torches, and it's not with ropes. This side that's been clueless needs to forgive, literally, and give it to God, the side that we would consider evil. And this side needs to forgive this side, which they feel has gotten a free ride, while they've sacrificed everything beyond what you could even imagine. And both sides need to come together and find unity, because that's what's required for us to step forward. Instead of going at each other, we need to forgive each other and step forward. They need to heal we need information, because right now we're all sitting ducks. And if we just kill everyone that's coming forward saying, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, we're going to lose the opportunity to really learn what's going on because we've been so sheltered. So this is a really important crossroads. How do we absorb this horrendous information, learn from it, and develop a structural integrity that we can actually move forward, protecting everyone and heal those that have been harmed? And with these people coming out, these names, all the names that I just read off the Washington Pundit, we need to comprehend, who are their handlers? Why is nobody asking that? Who are the handlers? Who's the puppet string movers? Who are the ones giving the chain of command order? Bill Brockrader came out. I'd encourage everyone to go back and listen to Bill's videos where he says, in the first 3 videos with Carrie Cassidy and Project Camelot, he says straight up that Hollywood is used for the most disgusting things, and they're actually slaves. Like, they make them look all romantic and, woo-woo, and wow, they're so special and shiny and sparkly, but really they're being used by the upper echelons of the elite for prostitution and the most horrendous things that anyone could imagine. They're victims. Okay, so then that part hasn't come out. The other thing is that if we really do comprehend how big this is, if it's the snake eating its tail kind of concept, do we want this to continue for the next generations? Are we literally at that point where we have enough of a tipping point where we can actually go forward? And how do we do that effectively? So, with this server coming back from Asia, perhaps with a committee now being headed by Trey Gowdy, who's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, with the Horowitz Inspector General report coming out, and Huber in Utah overseeing things as well, a second committee. So is this actually happening? Or are we just going to get more of the same? Because we saw Comey lie, who said he was not able to testify because he was out of the country. He wasn't in the U.S., which was a lie. He was in the U.S. We saw Loretta Lynch decline to testify. We saw McCabe plead the fifth. We saw Peter Strzok, however you say his name. He's like the only one that's willing to testify. And so why? What's really going on? So now we need to take another step back and understand this dark to light reference that President Donald Trump made in his commentary around the intelligence community and his faith in the capacity for the intelligence community to clean this up. Dark to light. So the whole federal government was basically corrupted. The FBI was corrupted. And if you go back and remember, Obama did put the federal government on furlough. And so what we have to understand is under the Obama administration, all these people came forward in the hopes of getting out of the old way. The administration has changed, the policy has changed, the direction has changed, the foundation has changed. Literally, I believe those behind Donald Trump and Trump administration are saying you need to bend your knee. Now, if the United States is a melting pot, Canada would be a mosaic where everyone's allowed to have their different patch of reality, way of being. Well, the United States is a melting pot, meaning you bring your special uniqueness in, and then you simmer and blend and become part of the whole. And add your ingredients to the whole. But there's a base. In any soup stock, you have a base. In the United States, the melting pot base is Christianity. So this is where a lot of people are struggling. Is especially those recovering from satanic ritualistic abuse. Everything in this world, systematic ritualistic abuse, everything in this world has betrayed them. Their gods, their mother and father betrayed them, let them down, violated them, abused them. they have a hard time putting faith in anything